So this is lesson 3.1 and 3.2. We're going to combine the two together. We're going to work first with the section of 3.1, which is converting our fractions to decimals. We need to remember the rules for integers, what happens when we multiply negatives and positives or same sign negatives, and what happens when we divide, which are the same rules. So the first example we have here is 9 divided by 25. That's the fraction. It's also a division problem because all fractions are also division problems. So we're going to use the long division method so we can work this out by hand and make sure that we're keeping our place value and all that in check. So you have to remember that the top number, the numerator, always goes in the house. I call it a division house. So we put the number here because it is 9 divided by 25. And if you remember, we can't put 25 into 9, so we're going to use some place value and add a decimal and 0 to make it now 90, forgetting about the decimal for a moment. And we always bring it right up so we don't forget to do it later. So 25 goes into 90. Well, it almost goes in 4 times because that would be 100, which means it only goes in 3 times. That's 75, and we subtract. We get 15 left. We need to keep going until we see that this either repeats or terminates. So let's keep going. We're going to add another 0, bring it down. I know that 25 goes into 150 evenly because I'm thinking quarters and money. I need 4 to make $1 and 2 more to make 50, so that gives me 6 total 25s, and that equals 150. We've solved it. So this rational number, this fraction, is written as 36 hundredths as a decimal. Let's do the next one. In this case, I have a negative divided by a positive. So I should already know that this is going to be a negative answer. But I'm going to forget about the negative for now, and we're just going to work through this problem. So we have 11 divided by 30. I know 30 won't go in, so I add a decimal and a 0. This goes in almost 4 times because that would be 120. So it's going to be 3. That equals 90. And I have 20 left over. I'm going to add another 0. 30 goes into 200. Close to 7 times, but not quite. It's going to be 6 times because 30 times 6 is 180. I have 20 left over. I'm noticing a pattern, right? And I hope you are too. We're going to keep getting 20 left over, adding a 0. So what that tells us is it's going to repeat at the 6. So at that point, I can just write the repeat symbol, which is the bar above the numbers, and call it good. I do not need to go any farther. So the answer is 3,600 with the hundreds repeating, right? I could put the other 6 there. It really doesn't matter. But remember, this was a negative divided by a positive. So this is going to be negative, right? Because you need the 2 negatives to give you the positive in the fact family. Okay, let's do the last one. This one is a negative divided by a negative. And you're going to see this sometimes. It's not really necessary because a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So it's going to be the same as writing this as negative divided by a negative is a positive. But sometimes you're going to see that and you need to remember the rules and what that equals. So we're going to do our normal steps, 4 divided by 11, long division. We have to add a decimal and a 0 again. 11 almost goes into 44 times, but not quite. It would be 30 times, or 3 times. So 33, we have 7 left over. Add a 0. This would be 6 times. 4 left over. Add a 0. This would be 3 times. 7 left over. Add a 0. Now I hope you're seeing the pattern. Once again, it's starting to repeat. It was 40, 70, 40, 70. So what's going to happen is it's going to keep repeating, but this time it's the 3/6 that repeats. Over here, it was just the 6, right? But here it's the 3/6. Now I can do that since I've already written all those numbers out. But once you find the pattern, you're good to stop. Write your repeat symbol and put your answer. Now, coming back to this, it was a negative divided by a negative, which we know is a positive. So the answer then is 36 hundredths repeating, where both 36 out of the hundredths are repeating over and over. Okay? We're going to pause the video here, make sure you caught up on all those notes and you're making sense of it. And then on the next video, we're going to do lesson 3-2.